Hello everyone. In this particular session, I will discuss about the global positioning system. These are the contents which are to be discussed in this particular session. So, this GPS global positioning system technology was used by United States Army during the Gulf War held in 1990. So, during this Gulf War, due to friendly fire, there were more casualties reported. Later, United States military decided to equip all their machineries, all their vehicles, all their tankers with the GPS devices to get the precise locations as well as to deploy them in a particular location of strategic importance. Our India is also having its own standalone GPS navigation system, which is popularly known as NAVIC, and the abbreviation is Navigation with Indian Constellation. In fact, this mission was started in the year 2013, immediately after the Kargil War, which was held in 1999. During the Kargil War, India had requested United States to share some important information regarding the enemy locations. But at that time, United States denied the request raised by the Indian government. Later, our ISRO had decided to launch this particular mission. Currently, we have 7 satellites which are covering almost an area of 1500 kilometers surrounding India, as you can observe here in this figure. So, ISRO is also has some plans for its further extension. So, this is regarding the brief history of evolution or evolution history of GPS technology. Now, what is a GPS? So, a satellite based navigation system, it is a satellite based navigation system which records and displays the location of an object on Earth. Maybe in terms of coordinates, maybe in terms of latitude and longitude, as well as the height of the particular place above the mean sea level. Normally, a GPS receives a GPS device which receives the signals from the satellites. Later on, these signals were processed and converted into the values showing the position, time, velocity, etc., which it is displayed on the screen of a GPS device normally. So, the instrument to which we generally call a GPS is nothing but it is a receiver, and which is a very small part in this entire or large GPS system. Now we will discuss about the working principle of GPS. So, as we know that now the GPS global positioning system works with the number of satellites. which are there in the different orbits surrounding the earth. In these, each satellites broadcast radio signals with their location and time. That means at any particular instant of time, each satellite will send two particular or specific information containing its precise location and the current time at which it sends the particular information or it transmits the particular information. So that means the satellite will tell you where I am in the space, where I am located, and secondly, at what time I am sending the signal to you. So these are two very important primary informations which are sent by each satellites at any given instant of time. There are two mechanisms which takes place in getting the precise location as well as elevation of any particular object which are placed on the earth. Namely, the first one in that differential time of travel. Differential time of travel. So here we know that basically if we know the speed of the signal and if we know the travel time, the distance which can be precisely calculated. This is the basic principle of measurement of distance measurement. So if we know the speed of any radiation which we are sending or any signal we are sending, we are using into the travel time, so that gives you the distance. So here the satellite in the constellation in the sense it is nothing but the cluster of satellites. All the satellites are equipped with the atomic clock. So that means they have got very accurate clock and they are very well synchronized. That means the time which is set on each satellite will be same. As well as here the GPS receiver will also be having a very accurate clock which can determine the difference in time between the current time and when the satellite sent the signal. So with this differential time and the speed of radio waves or radio signals which travels almost equivalent to the speed of light. So finally the distance of the receiver on the earth which can be calculated. The receiver uses trilateration method to define its exact location on the earth. So in the first phase, distance is calculated using the differential time of travel. In the second phase, in order to get the particular or precise location on the earth, the GPS receiver uses trilateration. We will try to know now the trilateration. This is a method that is used to determine the position on the earth in 3 dimensions. Since the problem here is nothing but 3-dimensional one, we must use trilateration method to solve this particular problem of locating the GPS receiver in any part of the earth and to measure its precise elevation. So a GPS receiver measures the distance from the satellite using the travel time of the radio signals, as I had explained in the previous slide.
The distance measurements from two satellites limits our location to the intersection of two spheres. For example, this is one satellite and this is the another satellite. So there the intersection of these two satellites will be somewhere here, which is indicated here with the blue hatched portion. So this two satellites, the with the help of two satellites, we can limit our location here within these two circles. Now here, assume that a third measurement which is done by another satellite is there, which comes here and it intersects now. So furthermore, this particular portion is going to be still narrower. Now we can determine the precise location of the receiver on Earth by the intersection of all these circles, which will meet at a common point. Now the third dimension, which is nothing but the elevation, in order to measure the elevation of the receiver, a fourth satellite will be necessary. So fourth satellite will be necessary here. So as you can observe in the third diagram, the fourth satellite which comes here and which takes the responsibility of measuring the elevation of the receiver. So this is the very important working principle in the GPS system, and it is popularly known as trilateration. The GPS system comprises of satellites, as we know now. So the satellites will communicate with the help of the signals, and they will transmit the data, namely ephemeris data and almanac data. This is a small additional information I am giving here. So ephemeris data is constantly transmitted by each satellite and contains important information such as status of the satellite. Status means it is healthy or unhealthy, current date and time, and this part of the signal is essential to determine a position. The second one is nothing but almanac data, which tells the GPS receiver where each satellite should be located or should be at any time throughout the day. So this is the another data which is called as almanac data. Each satellite transmit almanac data showing the orbital information of that satellite. So this is regarding the almanac data. So there are two types of data which are transmitted here, ephemeris data and almanac data, and almanac data is very much helpful in getting the precise location of the receiver, as we come across the term trilateration. In the trilateration, this almanac data is used. The next one is nothing but the elements of GPS system. So there are three very important elements which are there in the any given global positioning system, which are namely space segment, control segment, and user segment. So space segments, in the sense it deals with the satellites in a given constellation. Control segments, in the sense namely master station and monitor station, and user segment, in the sense all the GPS receivers or GPS equipped devices which comes under this particular segment. Now we will discuss these one by one. Number one, space segment. So as I was telling about the constellation of the satellites, so there are almost 24 GPS satellites in a medium Earth orbit from 2000 km to 35,000 km altitude in a nominal GPS constellation. So even today this may be more than 30 also. These 24 satellites which are placed in six circular orbits six circular orbits. So that means 4 satellites are there in each orbit. The orbit period which is equal to 12 hours, and these orbits are equally spaced with 60 degrees apart and at an inclination of 55 degree to the equator. This is very specific information regarding the orbits or orbital information, what we call. So these orbits are arranged in a well manner that at any time about 9 satellites are visible from any point on the ground at any one time. So to carry out the measurements in the GPS system, it requires 4 optimal number of satellites, as I had explained in the previous slide. But there may be 4 to 5 additional satellites which are used as standby in this navigation system. The next one is nothing but the control segments. So this control segment comprises of 5 ground stations. Among these 5 ground stations, 4 monitor stations are there, plus 1 master station is there. So master station is located at Colorado Springs, and remaining Hawaii, Ascension, Diego Garcia, Kwajalein. So these are the locations of the monitor stations around the globe. Then what are the functions of these monitor stations and master stations? Let us understand. Usually the monitor stations measure the distance from the overhead satellite for every 1.5 seconds and send the corrected data to master station. A master station records the satellite orbits, clock performance, and it tracks the health of satellite, which are determined at a regular period of time, and which also determines whether repositioning of the satellites are required or not, or repositioning or readjustment in any particular instruments or the mechanisms, measurements which are to be done or not. Then this information is sent back to the satellites using the ground antennas. So these are in the control segments. Now the next one is nothing but the user segments. So user segments, in the sense, it consists of all Earth based GPS receivers, both civilian and military, which are used for both civilian and military purpose. So a GPS receiver normally consists of a display screen and a buttons to operate, and which may consists of a small inbuilt antenna to get the signals from the satellites. So these are regarding the essential features of the GPS receiver, and the signals from minimum 4 satellites are required, as you know, in order to get the complete information about the location, so that means x, y, z coordinates, and time. So these GPS receivers are essential part of navigation system of aircrafts and ships. The differential global positioning system, it is known as DGPS. So it is an advancement to the GPS, the conventional global positioning system. So as we know that this GPS works with the radio signals, which are ultimately sent by the satellites. So these radio signals, which are transmitted from the satellites, passes through the atmosphere surrounding the Earth, as well as some of the obstacles in between. So due to the presence of these obstacles, there will be time delay which takes place in getting the radio signals by the receivers. So this impediment in transmission of the radio signals, which is avoided by having another receiver in the form of a reference station on the ground. So now this is called as a DGPS, differential global positioning system, where we are having two receivers. One is nothing but the rowing station or rowing receiver, and the second one is nothing but the reference station. So rowing station is a mobile one, so which continuously moves, which roams, but the reference station is nothing but stationary one. So here in this particular system, satellite transmits the signal to both the rowing station and the reference station. The reference station will calculate the differential error and makes the necessary differential corrections for the location and the time. After this, the corrected signals which are broadcasted to all rowing stations. So this is a working principle of differential global positioning system. Now we'll discuss about the differences between the GPS and DGPS. So GPS number of receivers used only one. Here two the receivers, namely rover and stationary receivers. GPS accuracy is around 15 meters, whereas DGPS is around 10 centimeters. GPS instruments cover the wide range and can be used globally, whereas DGPS instruments cover a short range up to 100 kilometers, but this range could change according to the frequency band. GPS system is less expensive as compared to the DGPS system, whereas DGPS is more expensive. Why? Because additional reference station is required, as well as some processing is required here. Then the signal frequency transmitted by the satellites in the GPS ranges between 1.1 to 1.5 gigahertz, whereas in the DGPS the satellites do not transmit the fixed range of frequency. The transmitted frequency depends on the agencies. Then GPS accuracy is highly dependent upon the number of satellites used for the calculation. For example, there will be better accuracy on open space compared to the forested area, whereas in the DGPS accuracy is not affected by these variables. It might be affected by the distance between the transmitter and the instrument, that is nothing but the rowing station. Finally, most of the time coordinate system used in the GPS will be standard one, which is known as WGS84 in longitude and latitude format, whereas DGPS might have local coordinate system. So these are some of the important differences between GPS and DGPS. Now finally we will discuss about the application of GPS. Nowadays this GPS system is widely used. Some of the application areas are: number one, aviation. So most of the modern aircrafts use nowadays this GPS receivers to provide the precise locations to the pilots and passengers. Then in the marine, the GPS receivers are equipped, are fitted to the boats and ships, which allows captains to navigate through the unfamiliar harbors, shipping channels and waterways without running ground or hitting known obstacles. Then farming. Farmers rely on a repeat planting season after season to maximize their crop productions. By putting the GPS receivers on tractors, they return to the exact locations on their farm when sieving their seeds in future. This strategy can increase the yield also. The next is in the science field. Scientists use GPS technology to conduct a wide range of experiments and research, ranging from biology to physics to earth sciences also. For example, traditionally, when scientists wanted to understand where and how the animals roam, on how far the animals roam, they had to tag the animals with the metal or plastic bands and then follow them to the various locations to monitor their movement. Nowadays, this technique has been entirely outdated, and these conventional bands, metal or plastic bands, nowadays have been replaced by GPS receivers, GPS tags. So with the help of that, precise location and location tracking is also possible. So this is nothing but in the science field. Then surveying. Surveyors are responsible for mapping and measuring the features on the Earth's surface and underwater with high accuracy. This may include things like determining the land boundaries, monitoring changes in the shape of the structure, or mapping the seafloor. Surveyors have historically required line of sight between their instrument in order to undertake such work, but the availability of high accuracy GPS receivers has reduced the need for this one. So this is regarding the application of GPS in surveying field. Similarly, in the military, nowadays the GPS system is almost used by almost all the nations nowadays. So all the vehicles nowadays are equipped with the GPS receivers, so they can track the vehicle movement, and they can deploy the vehicles according to their strategic plan. So then telecommunication field. So telecommunications, especially the mobile telephones, use this app to provide its users with accuracy, reliability, and stability of their operations. Similarly, in the road transportation, majority of the users of this technology are taxi services, emergency vehicle location, commercial goods management and freight tracking, public transport and speed monitoring, traffic management and dispatch and navigation, etc. So they use this GPS technology. Next, locating positions, hunting and fishing, in easy access to the emergency roadside supports, public safety and disaster relief, etc. So these fields or in these applications are there, which comprise of GPS technology. So there is nothing but global positioning system technology. Thank you.